Yeah, this is Chris from House Call Computer Services. Today I wanted to talk about Firefox and Flash Player. Firefox, for a lot of people, Firefox is their default web browser, which is web browser is simply the software you use to get out to the internet, open web pages. Flash Player is a plug-in for that web browser that allows certain types of web content to work right. And if you're like most people running Firefox, recently you've started to notice when you go out to certain websites, some of the content of the websites is not being displayed, and it's because this Flash Player plugin is out of date and needs to be updated. In their infinite wisdom, they used to just warn you about outdated plugins, but now they just shut them off. So in order for us to, you can activate it temporarily for each website, or you can activate it for each website by clicking on this link, but probably the best thing to do would be to go ahead and update Flash Player. To do that, first thing I'd like to talk about is Firefox itself, the web browser, and making sure it's up to date, and we're going to take a look at a couple of the settings in there. In order to do that, I like to get up to the menus at the top of Firefox, but in some cases you may find that the menu bar up here at the top, the menu bar is missing by default or is disabled. So what you need to do is reactivate the menu bar. So to do that, I like to come over to here, way up at the top, just to the just below and to the left of the X that closes the window, and I'm going to right click in this area, and then the menu that opens, I want to left click on menu bar to bring the menu bar back. Okay, now when I come back over here, you'll see now my menus are back, including my help menu. So first thing I would do normally is click on the help menu and come down to About Firefox, and then a window opens in the middle that talks about what version Firefox we have. If this Firefox were not up to date, what I would have is a button there. If it were by default, normally Firefox, when you open this window, it right away starts downloading the updates for Firefox, and then it'll give you a button that says Restart Firefox for this update to be installed. But in this case, we already have an up-to-date version, and in some cases, if your Firefox is set to not check for updates, the button would say check for updates. If it's set to check for updates automatically, the button would now say it would automatically download the updates, and the button would say restart now to install the updates. In our case, the Firefox is up to date, so we don't have to do that. Currently 35.01, but that's the way you tell. You click on the help menu and go down to About Firefox, and it will give you the option to check for updates, or it will tell you it is up to date. So we're going to close this window since it's up to date. The second thing I want to do is, now that I've updated Firefox, a number of people have noticed that Firefox, in their infinite wisdom, has taken to updating or changing the default search engines for them too, which a lot of people don't like. So another thing that I'll do after updating Firefox is to go to the Tools menu and go to Add-ons, or actually I can also do so from the Options page, and go to, under the Options window, I'm going to go to the Search tab, which is here, and with this new version of Firefox, what they've taken to doing is switching your search engine settings so that the default search engine is Yahoo instead of Google. So one thing I like to do for most people, because most people prefer it, is change the search engine back to Google. And then I will come down here and uncheck all the other search engines, because I don't want to use these other search engines. I only want to use Google, as do most people. Then the other thing I do, so that it doesn't do that again, is come up here to the Advanced tab, click on that and come down to the sub-tab of that window labeled Update. And I could uncheck this to set it so that I'm manually checking for updates for Firefox. But I definitely unchecked this to automatically update search engines. I don't want it to do that because I don't want it to make those kinds of changes again. And while I'm in here, I'm just going to do this too, so that I manually check for updates for Firefox itself. And then when I'm done with that, I come down and click OK. Alright, now that I'm done with that, next I want to actually update the Flash Player. So we've updated our Firefox. So I like to, again, using this search field up here at the top. Now I know my default search engine is Google. I typed Flash Player in here in the search field and hit enter or click on that arrow, and this Google search return comes back, which at the very top includes this listing, which the web address begins with get.adobe.com Flash Player. That's the link that I want. So I'm going to click on this link in order to open that Adobe Flash Player download page. And again, you see up at the top you're getting this message about Flash Player being outdated and therefore being disabled. But this in the page itself, so I'm going to just go ahead and just to get this ball rolling, I'm going to go ahead and click on Allow. And then over here where it's asking me to confirm that, I'm going to say Allow and Remember. And it comes to this page that is showing me the Flash Player update and the button down here for installing the update. But you want to be careful to remove this optional offer. This is what I refer to as solicitationware. They're trying to sneak this in, and we don't want this. So I'm going to remove this checkbox because I don't want McAfee Security Scan Plus, which is simply a solicitation tool, meaning they're just trying to sell McAfee. And come down to this button that says Install Now. So now it's beginning this process of attempting to download the Flash Player install routine, and it will pop up a notification asking, do we want to save this file? And sure enough we do, because we want to be able to install it. It's not a big download, so it won't take long, and this little arrow you see up here, this is our search field right here where we search for Flash Player. To the right of that, you'll now notice this downward pointing arrow has now turned blue. That's telling us that our download is complete. So I can click on this arrow, and then there's our install Flash Player routine sitting up at the top. This window is showing our most recent download, and that's the one we want to run. So I'm going to click on it to run it. And it's going to pop up, depending upon your version of Windows, it's going to pop up a file security warning or user account control. And the thing we want to do here, of course, is click Run. If we click Cancel out, then it wouldn't install the update to Flash Player. So we want to click Run. And in the case of Windows 7, we get both. We get a file security warning, and we get this thing called a user account control. They're basically both asking the same things. Do you want to run this program? Do you want to make changes to this computer? Well, that's what we're doing by installing this. In essence, we're making changes to the computer. So of course we want to click Yes here as well. So now it's prompting us about, it's beginning this installation process, and it's prompting us about checking for updates to Flash Player automatically. You can do that if you like to. That's a matter of personal preference, I suspect. I don't really care to, so I'm going to click on this. I would rather check for the updates to Flash Player manually. So I'm going to say never check for updates, and then click Next. and now it's beginning the update installation. Which will take a few seconds to a few minutes usually. Doesn't take much time. And it says it's complete. Installation is complete, so we click Finish. And then what it does is it pops up this little window that basically is telling us the installation of the update for Flash Player is complete. And if I wanted to go back into the history and find the page that I had before that the video would not run in, now you'll notice I'm no longer getting my message about Flash Player being out of date and needing to update it. I can just play this video. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to contact me.